Let's get this party started. Welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole.
Butcher knife steps in, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the pig pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Bro, butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining order. Scum, bro. 2, 3, 4, 5, hit whip. Butcher knife stepson, don't need gun. I will cycle pump you till you done another restraining order. Fun. Yeah. Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun. People say I'm scum. I'm done. Butcher knife stepson, thinking this is fun. Oh, butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the pig pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Oh, butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining orders. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hit whip. Butcher knife stepson.
I know I said that I wasn't gonna talk about David Shurter anymore on my channel or do a video, but I lied.
I will psycho pump you till you done. Another restraining order fun. Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the pig pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining order. Scum. 2, 3, 4, 5, hit whip. Butcher knife stepson, don't need gun. I will cycle pump you till you done another restraining order. Fun. Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun. People say I'm scum. I'm done. But the knife stepson, thinking this is fun.
I mean, with all the restraining orders that have come out surrounding David Shurter, I mean, who's to say that he's not going to act out in a dangerous way? Do we really know that? I mean, I think this should be looked at.
Yeah. Butcher knife stepson. Where? Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the pig pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Yeah. Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining order. Scum. 2, 3, 4, 5, hit whip. Butcher knife stepson, don't need gun. I will psycho pump you till you done another restraining order. Fun. Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun. People say I'm scum. I'm done. Brother knife stepson, thinking this is fun. Butcher knife stepson.
I mean, David has spent like the last few days denying that he ever got a restraining order that mentions a child in it. And in fact, the child was 7 months old. Now, David goes, I didn't. How could a child possibly take out a restraining order? That is a complete lie. No, the parents took it out because David was going nuts in their neighborhood and saying that they were responsible for directed energy weapons at him. And he was saying things like, this is going to kill your daughter. Yeah, they were afraid of him. He was doing videos and showing their license plates on Facebook and on YouTube. So, yeah, I think there is a bit of concern that we should be concerned about David Shurter right now. And it would be perfectly okay, I think, for someone like me to actually take out a restraining order on him. And I think there's a lot of other people online who would be able to do that too.
I know boy I steps in. Word, can, G, dot. Go out there, Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, thinking thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the big pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Put your knife, stepson, wearing my man bun. Another restraining order, scum. 2, 3, 4, 5, hit whip. Put your knife, stepson, don't need gun. I will psycho pump you till you done. Another restraining order, fun. Put your knife, stepson, wearing my man bun. People say I'm scum, 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 I'm done. Put the knife, stepson, thinking this is fun. Put your knife, stepson, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the big pun. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Put your knife, stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining order, scum. 2, 3, 4, 5, hit whip. Put your knife, stepson, don't need gun. I will psycho pump you till you done. Another restraining order, fun. Put the knife, stepson, wearing my man bun. People say I'm scum, 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 I'm done. Put the knife, stepson, thinking this is fun. I credit. Put your knife, stepson. Put your knife, stepson, wearing my man bun. Thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the pig pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Put your knife, stepson, wearing my man bun. Another restraining order, scum. Scum, scum, scum. Put your knife, stepson, wearing my man bun. Another restraining order, scum. 2, 3, 4, 5, hit whip. Put your knife, stepson, don't need gun. I will psycho pump you till you done. Another restraining order, fun. Put the knife, stepson, wearing my man bun. People say I'm scum, 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 I'm done. Put the knife, stepson, thinking this is fun. Put the knife, stepson, wearing my man bun. Put your knife, stepson.
All right, these are just some songs that I created on Suno.com, and as you can tell, I was kind of doing variations of lyrics on the different ones. I made this one in the style of Wu-Tang, so it's hip hop East Coast hardcore, and so I just felt that that kind of energy calls for this topic because David has gotten increasingly worse and worse since I've become part of the narrative. I'm more of a newbie. David has included me in his rant of people that are trafficking children since it was, I believe it was like the end of January in 2024, and right now it's August. We're almost in the middle of August in 2025. So it's been about a year and 6 months, and I can see it in my chat right now. The Conspiracy Archive says that they have evidence of more restraining orders and audio from the hearings. So, David, I really got to give it to you guys on the research. Conspiracy Archives, Pootie Twang, there is Geo Farnsworth. I almost called like Farnsworth. Do you know that they're, do you remember the movie Heaven Can Wait? I don't know if you guys remember that movie. It's kind of with the one with Warren Beatty. There's 2 versions of it, but the one with Warren Beatty, the Mr. Farnsworth was the character that Warren Beatty became. Anyway, it's a great movie. It's a I believe it was like a 70s movie, but it's really good. And every time I hear Geo Farnsworth, that's why I asked Geo, I go, is that really your last name? I go, that can't be really your last name. But it's got Charles Grodin in it. I don't know, really funny actor back in the, between the 70s and 90s, Charles Grodin. I know some of you out there know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, I'm rambling off onto something else for a second. But when you tune in on my rabbit hole, you got to expect that my mind will go down my own rabbit hole, and I will barf that up for a few minutes. I think maybe it's part of my charm. I'm hoping. Anyway, getting back to David, Conspiracy Archives, who else? There's somebody else. Oh, And don't let me forget Aussie John. I mean, Aussie John has done some really great research into David, and a lot of his videos are being played. We're all looking at the content. Oh, and Daniel Dowd. Don't let me forget Daniel Dowd, Goblin Dowd. All right. He has also done some really good research into what David Shurter is doing. And I've had people tell me, they're like, oh, well, Terry, just don't worry about it. Just ignore it. It's nothing. There's nothing to be dangerous. Everybody knows he's crazy. Because at first, I don't know about you guys, but I was absolutely horrified to be accused of the things that David Shurter has said about me. And anybody who really knows me, I mean, I know that when I'm online or whatever, or I'm gruff, or when I'm on stage doing comedy, I'm a little bit naughty, and I'm a vocally, what do you call it? I'm edgy, and I'm vocally shocking sometimes. In like, I'm not afraid to say something, or to say what I think is the truth, or what I think is real, and sometimes, maybe I go, well, am I too harsh? Maybe I am too harsh. I mean, I try not to be too bad, but we live in a world where you kind of have to swing it around a little bit. You have to be a little bit like, hey, I'm going to smack you down right now in my way. I've got to come back with something. There's a point where you really just can't be silent anymore. People, well, if you don't talk about them, then they're not going to talk about you. And people think that this just exists on the internet. Like, oh, well, he lives in Harlan, Iowa, and I'm in Fresno, California. What kind of threat can come to me from David Shurter? But do we really know who David Shurter is, and what their history is, and what they really are capable of? And I don't know about you guys, but I've been seeing a lot of shows lately on YouTube by true crime people, or even in some documentaries or shows that are on Netflix, that social media influencers or people that have YouTube channels are actually being killed on camera. So with websites like Ben Verified and Truth Finder, and where anybody can just, find out your family and where you're from and where you live and where your history is, and every single flaw that you might have ever done in your entire life, they can find you. There was a time where there was an actress, her name was Rebecca Schaefer, I think. And she was an actress, and on some sitcoms, I think it's like my sister or something like that, something to do with sisters. And she had a stalker that was able to access her information from the DMV, and then they changed it. I mean, there's some screwy stuff going on now. And when you have a David Shurter out there, telling people to come after us on a daily basis, telling, like, really basically saying the dark is coming for you, or it's the end of your life, or even if he's saying I'm a shaman and I'm doing this to you, there's a certain amount of energy that he's saying that he's doing, of ill will, that he wishes upon whomever he's decided to put on his list, that he wants to tell everybody is guilty of crimes that they're not guilty of. And what I really find really interesting about David Shurter also is, like, the list that's growing just happens to be the list that a certain other person who is the CEO of a puzzle and has a channel on YouTube, it just so happens that everybody on that list happens to be on his list. And David has the same list, and he says the same thing that David says. So there's an amplification of David's, abuse online. And then with other people, like let's say Denise Matow or other players that will echo and confirm. Maybe Hoax Wars, Hoax Wars attacks the same people that David's attacking. There's this crossover of this happening. But if you look at David Shurter himself, the way he acts, his demeanor, the way he screams and yells on the camera, the awful things that he said about, his family, and the things that he said about his nephew that he apparently admits to molesting himself. Like, I'm even afraid that, like, I really don't like saying these words on, during my broadcast, because I just feel like they're like kind of red flags. It's kind of like things that you really don't want to be talking about at all on YouTube. I don't think YouTube really wants this kind of discussion happening on their platform, and especially if you are going, for advertisers or whatever. Like, it's like even the topic itself puts you into this sort of like, if you're not careful, you're going to end up in the shadow ban kind of area, right? It depends on how you talk about it. How are you talking about it? Well, this is how I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it that there's this man named David Shurter that, for me, and he has scared me. David, you might say, "Oh, that's Terry. You're just that's fake." You know what? No, I really like. If you want me to be honest with you, I have been scared of David and the things that he said. And especially when he was saying things like, "Oh, I'm going to put, like, these people deserve," I guess whatever politician or whatever said something about putting people who are pedos, right? Put them in a wood chipper because that's what they deserve. And he's including my name in that litany of people that deserve to have that done to them. And, what I'm worried about in David is, like, who's really listening to David? Is the people that are listening to David, are they right in that? I mean, you look at his chat and you see people supporting him and you wonder, okay, are those sock puppet accounts? I think a large portion of it is sock puppet accounts. There's a big illusion to make people think that David is bigger than he is. But what it is they've just inflated his numbers. They've made him look bigger. He's, they're making his views look like David's complaining, "I don't have this many people listening to me. Why are they doing this to me?" Well, they want him, somebody, this is my theory, all right, I don't know about you guys, somebody wants him to look more menacing and intimidating than he may really be, in terms of ruining somebody's reputation. Because this isn't just about ruining somebody's reputation, because really anybody with a logical mind can look at David Shurter and look at his demeanor and look at his past history and look at the amount of restraining orders that he's had and the weird stuff that he talks about and say, this is not plausible. He's also talking about people that do have a really good reputation in society, despite my sordid past that everybody thinks that they want to rub in front of my face is so minor, considered in regards to the online community that I have online, really, and the people that I really do have in my life, and the people that really do know me, that know me for years, what I do, where my time is spent, what my goals are, and how I treat other people. And the level of work and excellence that I do at my jobs that a group of people have spent so hard saying that they want to get me fired from. Personally, I've had so many threats about what they're going to do to me and my future and how they were going to ruin me, that this dialogue was happening all the time. So even within that context of David lying about me while I'm working on a degree, while I'm achieving a degree in digital journalism, while I'm achieving magna cum laude, hold on, somebody's at my door. Hold on, just a second. Who is it? Oh, okay.
Hi, I'm here to comment and gay Sandy. I could have sworn I was seeing something.
and you cleaned in here too, I believe. Or if you want to check it out.
Wait.
This is my room in here.
Oh, this is a two. This one is two.
Yeah. Are you in the right place?
Oh yeah. No, yeah. It's supposed to be A and C. 25. Okay. I'm gonna go see.
Anyway, I'll leave it unlocked and you can go back in.
Okay, thank you. I'll come back in another 2 minutes. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. Okay, I'm back. Okay, give me just a second, guys. Just a second. Let me play another one of those songs. I just want to make sure that I know where Orlando is, because you know.
Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, I'm dreaming the pig pen, and nobody has fun until I'm done. Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining on a scum. Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, I'm dreaming the pig pen, and nobody has fun until I'm done. Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining all the scum. Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, think I'm a G-man, I'm dreaming the pig pen, and nobody has fun until I'm done. Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining all the scum.
I made that on Suno. Hey everybody! I didn't realize Sewer Town's here. Also Seren One. Hi, our Sewer King. My bad. And so yeah, we're all here. And okay, so just obviously we're talking to our own community, but I've got some new subscribers. So if you're new here, thank you for being here on my channel. So if you don't know, Sewer King is Jesse Davis, and he is on the list of what David Shurter has been attacking. So he's part of it, and I think for me, just and I'm just going to talk about how it affects us, because you think that people aren't watching or listening or whatever, but there's that little bit of fear that you're like, okay, what if they do believe David? Like, what if like something does happen to me because of these allegations and stuff like that? And I have had to, because, you know, when Denise called my job and stuff like that, I had to explain to people what was happening to me online, and also say the things that I was being accused of. And, you know, there's never a pleasant way to have that conversation with people that you work for, and say like something weird like that's happening to you online. And so, you know, even down to like the article that happened in the Michigan State paper, you know, the one about Laura Dilley, you know, the fact that I was mentioned in it, okay, had the interview, and the way I was depicted, you know, in it, right? It was like, okay, so when you have a resume, right, you don't want to put down, oh, I was an adult film writer. That's how I call it, because that is also a way to say it. But, you know, I was called a porn writer. And, you know, the Sophia Music Gang were happy about that, because for them, it was like, oh, yeah, we got her. And it's another college, and she's getting ready to graduate, and it makes her look inept and bad. And we've succeeded in this. Well, that's not what happened, because, like, we really don't live in that kind of world right now, and especially in the world of journalism. And again, like I said, they know me. Like, you guys don't really know me. Like, you don't know how I act or conduct myself or how I work or what kind of person I am. You hear and see me in what I say on my channel or what I post maybe on social media, right? So, but I had to assimilate what would be considered the negative part of my past into my present life. And I say I did pretty good. I say I'm okay. Like, I'm fine. Like, we're not living in a world that is going to, like, not give you opportunities or not treat you like the respect that you should be treated because of something like that. Especially when you're talking about media and you're talking about the world. Now, you might have a moral feeling about that. I mean, people have their own morality, their own opinions, or whatever. But in the world in general, what I did is not really considered that big of a deal in terms of, it's like, oh, okay, you're a little bit naughty. Oh, okay, fine. And, when you are a person that's in the public, or when, like, I'm a stand-up comedian, I worked in the entertainment industry. Like, I do know a lot of people. I know a lot of people, and I don't mean to be bragging, but I know a lot of people that are in a lot of different ways in entertainment and also in politics, and a lot of I know some powerful people in my life. I've worked alongside them. And they know my ethics, how I work. They know how I work. They know how professional I am in what I do and how I conduct myself. Right? So when you have like a David Shurter or, something like that, or these people saying these things, yeah, you're like, who wouldn't be worried that what they were saying was going to affect my ability, even like, put food on my table? Because when you know that there are people that are specifically trying to ruin you to make it so that they verbally say, I want to make this person homeless. I have read those things being said about me, and it's been said more than once, and it's been posted on social media. So for me, I mean, like, when I look at a David Shurter, he's just another sailor on the boat in this objective that a group that people are having done to them on the internet. Now, that's just like one level of like the assault, I will say, that could happen to a person, that could affect their livelihood, that could affect, a lot of things and their survival. And, it's, how do you persecute that? How do you really, persecute, something like this happening on the internet? You have to prove that it was done intentionally. You have to prove that. You have to say, well, you know what? I think it's happening by a group of people. And then you have to show or have people believe that, because these are things that are happening on the internet that don't have any laws, that happen to people, but there's no real awareness about it, and there's no jurisdiction over it. Like, if you go to the local police and you say, you know what, this person put half of my address out on their timeline, and this other person did the other half of my address, and so they're doxing where I live, and they're saying that they're coming from me. Yeah, I called the police, but they don't do anything about that because it's on the internet. So every day that David Shurter is sitting there saying that he's telling the sheriff these things, and the sheriff's, not doing anything. Really, it's not because it's David special that there's people gained up against him, that the law enforcement is behind child traffickers. What it is that they don't deal with stuff like that that's on the internet. Anything that's happening to you has to be a direct threat. It has to be a direct threat to where you are in danger, in that immediate danger, before you're going to get any type of response like that. Now, when Denise called my job, that was a different situation. My job backed me. They knew what was going on with me because I did have the fortitude to open up to my employer that I was going through something before something bad around that something happened to me. Because I kind of saw a foreshadowing of what might be coming down the pike. I guess that's just intuition. And you know what? Now that we have the what's happening right now politically around all of this, because these people do connect to that. I mean, let's face it, Nathan Stoltman had Isaac Cappy on that played out in a very big way about what's happening with the client list. So when you look at what is happening with this, right, in a way, because I said some of this is connected to that, two people, and then this happens, it pretty much validates what's been happening to me and what I said, really, in a sense. It's like, oh my God, how ironic that all of this would start to come percolating up to the top where we can all see it bubbling over in front of us. But again, that's another rabbit hole that I'm going on. But then you have a David Shurter, who is a voice in that, who has been a guest on Lift the Veil, who is endorsed by Lift the Veil at this point in time, by the way, who is endorsing what he's doing right now. And what David Shurter is doing is he actually is threatening other people. And he's also telling other people to investigate us or do something about us. And I literally had another person that I was going, when I was attending Fresno State, there was a person that was a student that ended up seeing one of David Shurter's videos, because I kind of mentioned we got talking about David Wilcock of all people. And he goes, I go, David Wilcock? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, well. And I was telling some things, and somehow maybe I mentioned David Shurter and what was going on. I kind of tipped off some of the stuff that was going on to him. And he said, you know what? He is inciting people to come and harm you. And he goes, I'm really concerned about you. Do you know that there was a time where I was getting text messages telling me to be quiet during my live streams on my cell phone that came from David Shurter's area code? And when I questioned him, he just blew me off like it was nothing. But really, how do we know that it's not David Shurter himself? How do we really know how mentally stable he really is when his own mother stepmother gets a restraining order out of him because he pushed her and shoved her and was holding a knife above her or hovering with a butcher knife over her head? Do you not believe me? Well, you know what? Let's actually look at the restraining order. This has been posted. I mean, because people are posting stuff. All right. Here it is right here. From his mother. David continued to get more aggressive, pushed, shoved, standing over me with a butcher knife. Spent 6 months in a Cherokee mental hospital. So he's been hospitalized before. And he is just going crazy on his channel right now. This says David Shurter's stepmother was granted a restraining order against him in Omaha, Nebraska. David Shurter was listed at age 45. which means the order was granted between December 2011 and December 2012. His stepmother was born in 1948 and would have been 63 or 64 at the time. Shurter was described as having a history of mental illness, had counseling since age 10, 11, and spent 6 months in the Cherokee Mental Hospital in Cherokee, Iowa. His stepmother, Joanne C. Wait, where is that at? Oh, I closed it up by accident. His stepmother, Joanne C. Shurter, wrote that her stepson, David, continued to get more aggressive, pushed, shoved, stood over me with a butcher knife. Right there. And today, David's in his stream talking about this and minimizing it and accusing his mother of being a Satanist and all these other horrific things, things that he normally says on his channel. But she literally took out a restraining order on him and admits that he had already been institutionalized before. So what is David's problem exactly? And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop the screen share here. Or maybe. Conspiracy Archives is saying that he was running around saying that he killed people, etc. Yeah, he has said that. A naughty girl. Yes, I am a naughty girl. Exactly. I'm sure they are sick of hearing about him. Yeah, I'm sure they are too. I've even called over at his police department, and there's nothing they can do about what he says either, because they go, oh, that's free speech. And so it is to a certain extent. I mean, eventually, if people reported the parts of his channel where he is being violent and or telling people to go after them, or even like accusing them of what he's accusing people, right? It's a form of harassment. Eventually, he will get strikes on his channel. I mean, it will just, that's just gonna, that would just, I report him. It makes me feel better to report him because I don't know what else I can do, really. And personally, I mean, honestly, I have started a restraining order on him. I'm at the point where I have to add the content into it, but I have already started to pursue getting a restraining order on David. I didn't know that you could get a restraining order like across states, but apparently there is a cyber stalking law. And David could deny all he wants that 712 area code number that I got a text from and I was harassed from more than once. How do I know it's not him? It is his area code. And the way he's acting, how do we know it's not him? I mean, yeah, you can say it's somebody trying to look like they are him. And they're just trying to make it look like David Shurter's doing it when he's not doing it because they want to cause more drama between us or more, some LARPing chaos on the internet. You can come up with that theory. But then, what is law enforcement going to think that what that is? Or what are, what would the judge think that would be a possibility? I mean, it is his area code. See? So, there are things that David does and makes threats. Like, I mean, again, he says, I wouldn't bulldoze anybody. I wouldn't whatever. But there was like a bulldozing thing. And I'm going to play just a few of, who is this dude? David Shurter. All right. Thank you for asking. And, who knows if this is actually really like, a troll or not. I mean, BP, but welcome. And even if you are, it's good to know, because who is this guy? The guy's name is David Shurter. He wrote a book called Rabbit Hole. He allegedly claims to be a satanic ritual abuse survivor. He has a blog. His whole thing is about how he was in a satanic family, and he talks about that they made him molest his, they did rituals where he witnessed little boys being killed and tortured and ritually abused. And he also, by the way, came out on the scene on his YouTube channel. If you go to his YouTube channel, you go to like some of David's like very first YouTube videos, he includes Hummel Park, and Hummel Park, by and large, like if you were to research Hummel Park in Nebraska, there's all these stories and conspiracies about hauntings and things that happen at Hummel Park. It's almost like there's a folklore around stories about Hummel Park. And what David did was, I think he inserted his own story into Hummel Park to come up with these whole thing about how his father and his mother and stepmother, they were all Satanists, and that he was born and they wanted him to be the Antichrist. And, he goes into all this elaboration. And, and he's also said some odd things, and when he does describe it's erratic and strange, even in many ways. Some people really believe him. They think that his story is true, and there are people that actually identify themselves with David Shurter. Like they go, "Oh, I'm a survivor like he is. I have the same sort of stories." So there's this kind of like bonding that happened. And I'm going to equate this to the super soldier program that's out there. That's, the conspiracy that's on the internet. These people, they come up with these stories, or they think that because David actually admitted recently that he dreamt it, that these were coming out as dreams and as repressed memories, which is like, when you look into the topic of satanic ritual abuse, that was the theory. There's the defense for the McMurtin preschool case. One of the defense was it was based on a book called Michelle Shocked, which was a therapist working with a patient who was having repressed memories come out through hypnosis and things like this about satanic ritual abuse. And so it's like, well, are these really memories, or is somebody there to make them think that they have these memories? And so when you went into like the McMurtin preschool case, the children were coached by not coached, but they were interviewed by a psychiatrist who was talking to them about certain things. And they felt, no, the psychiatrist put those ideas or memories, false memories, into the children. So always around this topic, there's the false memory thing that goes on. And come to find out, David is also using the false memory theory or justification to justify his legitimacy, that what he says is true. Now, if you look into David Shurter on the internet, right? Let's say you went on ChatGPT, or you wanted to do Gemini or something like that, and you said, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have, a lot of us have. And, there is no real corroboration that David Shurter's story is true other than himself. And that's always when that happens, if that's the only way of validating your story, then you have to look at it and going, well, it's just that person's testimony, and who's to say if what they're saying is true? And one thing that I think really makes it, I'm more inclined to say it isn't true, or it's the rantings of somebody who has emotional and mental problems, rather than a real testimony of something, because of the fact that he falsely accuses people that aren't guilty of the crimes that he says you are, Or, for example, when he went crazy on his neighbors and said, "Oh, you know what? They're doing EMF energy weapons on me, and I'm going to go around and rant and rave underneath their window and stick my camera up in their property, in their window, and talk about how they're doing directed energy weapons and how the mold is radioactive and affecting his health, and they're trying to kill him." That's what's really going on. But David is sitting there in right now, just today, or every day lately, he's talking about how, oh no, that there's no way a 1-year-old could get a restraining order. That's so silly. They're all talking about that, and I'm thinking, David, do you really think that people are going to buy that? That they're actually going to go, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense, David. That's good logic. That's good. That's the truth. And what is weird about David, I'm going to tell you what I think. Okay, you guys might not. You may feel the same. Maybe I might. You go, oh yeah, that's right, whatever. But what concerns me about David is that he brings in spirituality and religion into the picture, and a lot of people who grift in this media, and that's where I go into the grifter area. They do that. Everybody has special powers. They're either psychic, either they're a shaman, or they're having like some sort of communication with, Archangel Michael. So you need to bathe in urine water, like David Wilcock, like weird stuff like this. And, David talks about psychopumping people. And, there was a story, I think like yesterday or something like that, where he was saying he was ordained by heaven to help people cross over to the other side. He talks about claiming other people's souls. And I'm pretty sure my name is thrown in there as being one of them. I mean, granted, you could say, oh, okay, that doesn't make any sense. That's weird. Yeah, it is weird. And what else is weird about him? Like, what else is going on? Like, what is the, like, let's be like FBI profilers. What is the profile of David Shurter, and what is he really capable of doing to people? If he's had this many restraining orders. His own stepmother took out a restraining order on him because he was hovering above her with a butcher knife. I'm sorry, but that just sounds like, coffee house crime, true crime. I can just see that as a story going sensational all over the internet. If at one time this fantasy or whatever he talks about, he thinks he's justified to act out. I mean, I think that is a valid concern and a valid argument. I even think if you were going to get a restraining order on David Shurter, you could even source the past restraining orders and say, this is what he's been doing to me. These are the threats he's making towards me. This is what he's saying about me on the internet. And this is what he's telling other people to do to me. And he always throws in, like even today, he said, oh, well, what are these people doing about what I'm talking about? I don't know. Has anybody looked at my channel lately? Like, what? I think I am doing something about it. If you really looked at my most recent shorts, or like, my most recent videos of what I've been talking about. It's not like I don't care, or that me as a person hasn't stood up for the cause on any of my platforms in any of the history that I've done, whether it was Freedom of Choice or Revolution Radio or American Freedom Radio. I have talked about this topic. I mean, I was in a relationship with Stephen D. Kelly, who, has the Getty Museum thing. I know we've been talking about it, David. How do you think we are in the same pool of anything? Right? So I really find that offensive. to be honest with you. And, but the worst part of it is that it is a tactic. It's a way that he gets people to manipulate. It's the way that he gets people to like give him a donation or feel sorry for him or whatever. And it's a way to like, even if it's just trumping up negative energy towards somebody or fear in somebody or whatever, he's doing it. He's doing that. And, I don't know. I want to toot my horn in here for a second. I think it's time to take a break. But if you talk about doing something about this topic, I actually created this song, which is based on the Jane Does that are associated to Jeffrey Epstein. So I like it. I'm going to play it.
I wish that I could know why you decided to show, why you didn't just go, why you still call her Jane Doe. She was 13, not yet 16, not even a tween. Friends said it would be funny if she met Epstein. He got a gig for the weekend, said she could bring a friend, said he needed someone who looked young, a blonde and a wig. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend, and her friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend, and her friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And they said they all met a nice man, and his name was Prince Andrew, and she thought he was harmless, so she went with her friend, and her thought he was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought he was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she met a girl named Katie Johnson, and she looked just like me, and they thought it was harmless, so they went with their friend. And I thought it was harmless, so I went with my friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And her friend's friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And her friend's friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And her friend's friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was.
I've spent a lot of my summer looking into the modeling thing that happened with. Matter of fact, I just want to let you guys know I did a video. I did a stream yesterday, and I did a real deep dive into Les Wexner and Jeffrey Epstein and their relationship, as well as Jean-Luc Brunel and also Donald Trump and the pageants and the his involvement in he had a modeling management company. Now, I just want to say that obviously there's a connection between, okay, I'll get to the point here, that the most interesting part that I think you should pay attention to in this little triad of what I just mentioned, all right, is that, I mean, if you're interested, all right, this is what I discovered, is that Les Wexner, the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and Les Wexner is really interesting. And he made him part of his trustee, in charge of his trustee. Like, he gave him like a huge reign on his finances. And Jeffrey Epstein used Victoria's Secrets as a recruiter for young models that they eventually ended up abusing within the sex trafficking ring. And so what I've looked at is that, I mean, when you're talking about Jeffrey Epstein, you're mostly talking about girls, all right? You're talking about 13, 14, 15, 16, and they were promising them modeling contracts. There's a definite model aspect to this, and it's not just United States. It's over in France too. It's in other countries, and so yeah. So when David like sits back and goes, "Oh well, what are you doing about it?" Well, you know what? What are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? Really? Like, are you looking at what might be the truth and what happened? What is the history? Like, I found out an article about where Trump was housing girls in apartments, you know, with 5 or 6, 11 girls in one, you know, two whatever, in one apartment, 2-story apartment or something. I don't know. It was just like, it was really interesting. There's a history. Now, there is not any proof that Donald Trump's agency did anything like Jean-Luc Brunel's agency did in providing models to Jeffrey Epstein to do what they're doing. Like, there's no link on that. So I just want to say that there's no, when it comes to, you know, Trump's modeling history and pageant history, there are some discrepancies. There are allegations of misconduct that happen that are similar between, like, let's say Jean-Luc Brunel and him as well in his practices and taking you know, models from other countries or whatever, but he's not implicated. You know, I haven't found anything that would implicate him involved with that. But I think that this is really more, the Jeffrey Epstein thing really involves young women or young girls, minors. You know, it doesn't involve what David Shurter is talking about, the satanic ritual abuse, the blood drinking and ritual and this and that. And because David's story it mostly involves little boys. It's connected to Boys Town and the Franklin cover-up and all those different, you know, things. It's not about like what is actually really happening to models. I think that this is systemic of the modeling business. I showed footage from a 60 Minutes. There's different, I mean, there's been more than one 60, there was 60 Minutes Australia about Jean-Luc Brunel a long time ago. And so it was out in the public for like 30 years almost before it ever really got busted. And Jeffrey Epstein financed Jean-Luc Brunel's MC2 modeling agency. And, you know, there's speculation that some of that money may have come from him having a lot of access to Les Wexner's money. And so there's this, you know, there's kind of like this chain of command. And like, for me, like, I'm thinking, well, if you're going to research something or you're going to talk about like what this is, to me, that's what this is. Not like, you know, David Shurter's version that has, you know, percolated in the conspiracies that have played out in this paradigm that has even caused the FBI, you know, Kash Patel to be made FBI and come up with a client list. There's this other aspect of it that has come out. You know, you guys, that I witnessed it. All right, I've been here for a long time. I watched it happen. I know the people that said it, and I know the people that spread it on the internet. I'm not talking about cicada people or that. I'm talking people before that. So, you know, I think that adhering to like the things that David Shurter is saying is to not really be with it. That's old news. That's not where it's at. That, I feel like that in a sense has been used as a weapon against people, that if somebody doesn't like you, that's what they're going to say about you. And then they're going to throw in there that you're a Nazi too. So, you know, anyway, let's get more into, I want to show like just a couple. Aussie John proved his ex was the publisher of his book. So the book of the year, LOL. Yeah, I just saw that recently too. That Aussie John proved that his ex did published the book, and you know, and David knows, like David says, "Oh, I don't watch anything that any of you guys are saying. I'm too busy and blah 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 blah." But everything that he talks about, and I'm pretty sure he's probably his next show. He's going to be talking about and defending himself against those restraining orders again, because I'm talking about it too. I mean, he's not giving valid answers for his behavior. And here, let me just show you. And welcome, BP. And I'm glad you came over here from Stephen Campion's show. I've been, since I had more time, I've popped into Stephen's shows, and I like watching him and the things that he's talking about. And you know what? I can see a correlation between David Shurter and David Wilcock. They do similar manipulations. But here's something. Let me do a share here. Here's him going off on about his cousin. Let me find it here. That apparently he admits he molested when he was 3 years old and he was 12. But here's how he's talking about him now today.
And as far as Mark Hester goes, my nephew, first of all, Cindy wasn't dad's. My mom was promiscuous, to say the least. And she got pregnant, but used it to snare my dad. So this whole, we never want to be Shurters. Okay, you won't have to worry about that because you're not dads. But when it comes to Mark Hester, of all the nieces and nephews that I've had, the one I always wanted to shove in front of a fucking train was him. Now, obviously, since he hasn't been shoved in front of a train, I'm using that term just.
And so let's be clear here. Just look what he said about his own nephew years later, and this is the nephew that he allegedly abused. This is how he's talking about him, like 30 years later? More than 30 years later? This is how he's talking about somebody that he harmed as a child. And now this is on the internet. This is like, he did it on his channel. He did it publicly. He used his channel to publicly bash them and then say, if anybody in my family I wanted to throw in front of a train, it would have been you. Wow. If that's not abusive, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. I just, let me find that channel, because there's a lot on this channel that has shown David's behavior. Here's another one, and this is like for BP. If you this one, this is him admitting to what he did to his nephew. This is what he did. This is him admitting what he did to the guy that he just said that I would throw you in front of a train. Okay? I don't mean to be light about that, really. But here it is. Oh, yeah. And let me put my banner on that we're just doing fair use.
Episode. So they made me light someone on fire when I was 10. And
as you can imagine, I became pretty much.
This is like really low. Let me put the closed caption on here so you can read it.
Full episode. So they made me light someone on fire when I was 10. And as you can imagine, I became pretty much out of control. My parents, my dad and my stepmother couldn't control me. So they decided to take me up and dump me at my sister Kathy's house in Minneapolis. And so
I want to point out too that that he's saying that he did it at 10, but I've heard him say 13 and I've heard 12 and this one he's saying he's 10. So the age of what he does changes. Let's do it one more time.
Full episode. So they made me light someone on fire when I was 10. And as you can imagine, I became pretty much out of control. My parents, my dad and my stepmother couldn't control me. So they decided to take me up and dump me at my sister Kathy's house in Minneapolis. And so when I was 12, I ended up attacking her.
Now he's 12. So okay, so when I was 12, I ended up attacking her 3-year-old son. I was 12, he was 3.
Doug keeps wanting.
Okay, and now he's going to bring in Lisa Greaves into it. So, like he's apparently what he's reacting to is he's reacting to people talking about him doing this and, pointing out, hey, you're calling me this, but look, you're guilty of it. And so this is his excuse of what he did. And then he goes and he gaslights and blames somebody else for attacking him. And now he's still somehow the victim. Watch.
Say that, you molested him. There was some of that because I was acting out, but for the most part, I beat the fuck out of him. And,
I mean,
well, this is Dr. Grande.
I was kind of wrong about that. I forgot how that ended, actually. But I'm going to check and see what you guys are saying. So he used his ex to target his nephew because he hated the nephew. Yeah. I don't know. It's confusing to me. It's confusing. So I'm just going to go a couple more things. I mean, it's 6 o'clock. I'm going to do a couple more things about him in terms of just why I think David Shurter is dangerous, really, even. Here, this is another video that I thought was interesting. Here.
Neil Gross, and it goes with an entry, the link of which I'm going to put down below, which is our conversation, our recent conversation as of yesterday. Dude, I've just had enough. I've had enough, and I know that you are so arrogant that you feel you cannot be touched because you are the sheriff. And people who are involved deal with the county attorney's office. Family members, I believe. And this whole situation that I just went through, again, that bitch should have never given up the ghost. Because now I understand so much. So much. Because now I know how people are getting into my house, considering who changed my locks. Now
stuff I never realized. And I have told you from the very beginning when we first met, I was sending you all those death threats and everything.
And you know, here's something. David Shurter has like 2 channels. I've been on this other. I said I was gonna like just show a few more things, but I want to look into something. I remember that David had like 2 channels, but even if you go to his channel, David Shurter, David, let's see. There was this old channel that he had that I don't know. I don't think I can find it. I think he lost this channel for a while. And then, but like, he's been doing this for a long time. So this is an older video of him. Okay. This is like when he was in, I think it was like Washington still, because he used to live in Washington, but he's been pulling stuff for a long time. Here's something else. Hold on. I need help in solving a murder I was forced to commit in 79.
My name is David Shurter, and I am looking for any information on a man who disappeared in the late summer or the fall of 79. He was around 5'8" to 6 foot, blondish brown hair, good looking and outgoing, and most importantly, he was obsessed with finding his dark-haired little girl, who I believe was actually his little girl. The man came to the duplex behind me in 1979 where my family lived, looking for his little girl, not knowing that my family was involved with her disappearance. His iced tea was drugged by my stepmother, Joanne Shurter, and later, in the presence of my father, Robert Lynn Shurter.
Okay, and that Joanne Shurter is the woman who eventually got a restraining order on David. Okay, just let me throw that in there for you. Okay, Sewer King says he has claimed he killed children, burned a man, molested and beat his nephew, was forced to be a cannibal, and was molested himself, was mind controlled by the military. I have problems believing him. Yes! But you know, I also want to point out that all of those things that David says on his channel is a bunch of things. They're kind of the same things that people say that they're super soldiers. And, you know, the things that he has said has become like this accepted trope in a community of people that identify with themselves like this. And so I want to point that out too. Right? Yeah, right? Yeah, John. Yeah, I know. And that's the part that makes me even the most queasy about it is like there's people that, you know, they see a point of comfort in him, and I'm going, okay, so if they feel a sense of connection to him and they believe what he's saying, and because there's people, and I don't know if it's fake or not, but they're going, oh yes, amen, yes, Jesus, and I'm like, can't you see that he's a phony prayer? He does phony prayers, like none of it is real. Like who prays to God like that? I mean, I can't. To me, I go, look, this person is such a manipulator. You know, it's not just that he is scary, like, you know, just like, you know, he threatens people or he has a history of restraining orders. It's all, and he, you know, and he just erroneously accuses everybody, whoever he wants to, of being a child trafficker and a pedo and a Satanist. But he manipulates people. There's a spiritual manipulation and a hook in, and a trope, a diatribe of this that is there. And why do you think he's been around so long? I mean, that's how I think. I mean, the guy's been around for a long time. He's been doing this for a long time. For me, it's like freakish. Like, I'm like, how did I clash with this person?
Jr.
Why?
My stepmother, Joanne Shurter, older brother, Stephen, and older sister, Cynthia Hester, My father doused the man with the flammable liquid, and I was forced to throw a match on him, thus lighting him on fire. I had repressed this until a year ago last November, when I remembered this event in a dream.
So right there, and he, again, this is an old video, but he just recently said this again. It was repressed memories that he remembered the event in a dream. It's from a dream. And a lot of these people say that, right? He is not doing anything new here at all. So is David a person that really just, believed it or started it? Or, I mean, what is this really? Because it would be different. I mean, I'm looking for that duo that's like, oh, we're brother and sister. Yeah, I back what happened to my brother. We were both abused by Satanists, but apparently that never happens. Everything that happens is a solo event and a solo victim. How does that go on? There's no witnesses to anything that David says. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm tired of this stuff, man. I'm tired of it. Yeah, it's a grift that works. It's a grift that works. And he adapts other stories into his own. Usually they are dead. Yes, they do. Usually they are dead. Max Spears, Tracy Twyman, Isaac Cappy. And then he blames the people that he's targeted, right? We're responsible for their deaths now. Like for months, he was saying, I was part of Isaac Cappy's death. I go, I never knew Isaac Cappy. How could I be involved with that? Like, and the whole thing about like, oh, Michael Aquino is still alive. I'm like, really? How do you really think that people are going to go, oh yeah, he's still alive? But the sad thing is people think that, John F. Kennedy Jr. was still alive. Remember that? I do. Like, I still had somebody, I couldn't believe this. I had another comedian at the gig that I did before my birthday, right? I don't know, maybe some of you don't know that, but I did a gig on July 3rd at a venue, and the guy, another comedian said, that Bill Hicks is actually Alex Jones. And I go, oh, he is not. Stop it. He is not. How could that possibly be? I can't even... Bill Hicks was better looking than that. Like, even the guy who was supposed to be like JFK Jr., they go, oh, this is him old. I'm like, no, he didn't age like that. He did not age like that. He would be way more prettier. He would be way prettier. Not way more prettier. That's bad grammar, but come on. He was the catch of the day in during before he got married. My goodness, everybody swooned over, JFK Jr. Anyway, I trolled off, but I don't know. For me, I just wanted it to end. Like, I just want him to like be quiet. Just leave me alone. Like, just if it's possible, like maybe how like you see those horror films and the zombies are coming at you, but there's something that you do that makes them get distracted and they go in the other direction. Like maybe some will just make him drift off onto like another place. Maybe a miracle will happen and he'll take his meds. He needs to be on medication. What happened? Is anybody looking at him or over him or whatever? Like maybe he needs help. Maybe he's having a major breakdown. By the way, just because I'm a bitch and I'm kind of having fun right now, I don't know. I'm going to start working again. So this is kind of like also just sort of a fun stream. I don't have my camera on. I'm actually in my pajamas. I have my laptop on a pillow. I have like some mushroom coffee. I'm feeling pretty chill right now. David Shurter interviewed Max Spear's mom. All right. Like the whole thing, and I don't know why I've allowed myself to get like so hung up about this. I'm like, how dare you say I'm responsible for the death of Max Spears? But he's telling people that the thing that he did, he finally had to backpedal on that. I never knew Isaac Cappy. I don't know how many places I posted that. I put it on X. I put it on my community page. I go, David Shurter is accusing me of being part of Isaac Cappy's death, and I never knew him. And but finally, I guess David Shurter got the point, and so he goes, "Oh, it is true. Terry Joyce, she never knew Isaac Cappy, but you know what? She killed Max Spears." Oh my God, it just never ends. It's like, oh no, I'm responsible for Max Spears' death, and then before that. A year ago, he told people that I never knew Max Spears, even though my interview with him has the most views in any video on my channel. I'm like, okay, it's a special little piece of that history of the internet. There's certain interviews that are hard to find about people and what they said, or that era, what was going on, right? So and he didn't even when he interviews Vanessa Bates, he doesn't even say Max's name correctly. He calls him something else. I swear, I got to find this. You got to hear it. And I go, you have the audacity to say, I killed him, or I don't know him. Or you're saying that you're psycho pumping people in the astral, or that you and Max Spears are going to come after me in the astral or attack me, psychically, because I'm a bad person. I'm everything he says I am. I'm like, wow. And he apparently, and I didn't mean to do this, but I have done, a lot of shows. I looked into what happened to him. I tried to be as fair as I can about it. Right. And so I guess I have a lot of stuff on the internet. And he goes, well, when you Google Max Spears, Terry Joyce comes up, and I'm just disgusted by that. And I'm like, wow, so I could even say that maybe this, some of his hatred towards me or his attacks are actually professional jealousy. I mean, really, am I wrong? I mean, what is his problem with me? You know what he has a problem with is that I found a receipt where he took a donation from Thomas Schoenberger, and I pointed it out. I said, look, man, you're taking a donation for Thomas Schoenberger. But then, I'm like right there. And I said it over and over and over again. He's like, she's with Thomas Schoenberger. I go, yeah, well, I never took a donation from him, but you did. What are people going to think here in this scenario? Is it me or is it him? Who repeats everything? Who repeats the same thing? He shares David Shurter's stuff on his timeline and has done it repeatedly. He's endorsed him. He's endorsed what he has said about me and other people. So that's another bizarre part about this, because you can analyze David Shurter and go, oh, he's just a crazy guy. He needs to be on medication. He's crazy. But somehow he plays out in a coordinated abuse of certain individuals on the internet is my theory about it. I could do an entire show on that and point it out. I think we all have. I think that's what Sewertown does, is, it's showing a collective pattern of what is actually really happening around this, and how, what is the connection between like Lift the Bell and David Shurter, or David Shurter and, or Sophia Music and Lift the Veil and whatever. Like you could do like a chart and go do a data chart of where the flow of content has happened between these people and how, and is there a money transaction that takes place? Because money talks, people. I don't care about what you say. I mean, yeah, there might be some people that get manipulated into it emotionally, or they're, the people that are lonely, that are looking to fit in a group of people. The one thing about like the super soldier community, or just any community, is that there's this sort of like different way of thinking of people that be connected and be different, but still feel like they belong to somebody. And I think that a lot of people that get caught up in this maybe are kind of fractured like that in some way. And they're looking to connect and identify, even if it never really happened to them, because they feel connected. Then they get caught up in this. And, I have to say, I got caught up in it. Like, I believed a lot of the things that I now sometimes point out and criticize people for believing in it. I believed it at one point. I was just, oh, yes, that must be it. I was gullible. And, forgive me for being angry about like being deceived and like getting mad at the people who deceived us or me or whatever, knowing that, no, it's not true. And in a way, I kind of feel sort of ashamed. Like I could kick myself for being like that. But at the same time, how do you help other people and yourself get over this and get beyond and see what it is? How this can, how a certain collective thinking or belief of what might be happening. There must be like, let's say, theoretically, let's just imagine. What if Ghislaine Maxwell gets pardoned? Sorry to bring it to that, but what if she gets pardoned, right? And Diddy, like, all of a sudden is like, hey, man, you dyed your hair. We love you. We're back on stage. Woo, woo! Nothing happened, right? What if everything goes like that? How is that going to affect people? I mean, are they going to go, oh, my God, was this just all a big lie? Or is it more real than we thought it was? Because now it's the biggest cover-up ever. Like they just have carte blanche to do whatever they want. And I really think that, I worry about it a little bit. I tell myself, that couldn't possibly happen. That can't possibly happen. But what if it does? It could. It really could happen. I mean, how much power or cover up or whatever is going to happen? How much manipulation are we going to do to each other and point fingers at each other and accuse each other of these crimes that we never did just because we have some political differences? Like, for me, it's kind of shocking to see where everything what everything is degraded to, and what is said and who is being blamed for what. Like, I wrote this line. I don't know. I've been enjoying writing this summer, and to me, this is funny. This really happened when Obama became president, because I had also voted for Obama, and I had this red hat that had rhinestones that said Obama on it, and he was so popular at that time that people who maybe wouldn't like you if they really, but because you had that hat on, they liked you. And like, I was driving down the street, and I was approaching. I didn't stop fast enough into the crosswalk, and there was a guy in it, and I was like, oh my God, if I hadn't stopped, I could have hit him, right? And instead of the guy being mad at me, he saw my hat and he was like cheering, like, yes, Obama, yay! The world is great. And, I mean, I even stopped eating red meat when Obama became president. And now, if that had happened, if I almost hit a guy in the crosswalk and I was wearing a red hat with rhinestones up with Obama across it, he'd probably look at me and go, he's getting arrested, or something like that. I mean, it's different now, because like Trump goes, oh, Obama's going to get arrested. Hillary's getting arrested. How long have we been told that? Like, I've been hearing about people being arrested from David Wilcock in like 2012 about all these arrests and how we're probably going to be at home for days in shock about the horrid that's happened with Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and everybody else in the deep state. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. And so that didn't happen. People still posting, friends still saying they're going to get arrested. Stephen D. Kelly doing shows. It's Gitmo time. Merry Christmas. They're all going into jail. And no. No, it doesn't look that way, does it? No. Who's getting arrested? And then David tells people, oh, go and arrest those people. Go arrest Terry Joyce. She's the worker bee. So I'm being accused of being arrested. So it's like everybody's going to get arrested. Everybody's going to court. Everybody's going to be in jail. It's like, okay. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna chill out and like drink my mushroom coffee and go about my business because really, I don't really give a fuck. I really don't. When it really comes down to it, when you look at the insanity in the world, who gives a fuck? Okay, his name is David Shurter. And I'll spell it for you too, BP. Shurter. Matter of fact, we're going to go to his channel right now because, why not? Here. David Shurter. I was thinking of doing like a deep dive into David. David Lynn Shurter. Here, this is the guy. David Lynn Shurter. I mean, should we do a deep search on Gemini for David Lynn Shurter? I mean, how much time do we have? I still have my battery still pretty good. Let's see what happens. Let me go on Gemini. I like doing this. New post. Deep search. No. All right now. Can you do a deep search on David Lynn Shurter? I've been going for an hour and a half. I don't want to go more than, well, yeah, I could go more than that. Okay. Okay. It's coming up. It's saying gather basic information, investigate public records. Yeah. Start research. Okay. I know. I really don't need anything on him. I'm just curious. About like it might bring me up somebody else. David Lynn Shurter. They're researching 5 websites. Oh, see, it's giving me like different ones. It's not doing what I want it to do. Oh well. Yeah, I really don't need to do that right now. I'm gonna cut that out because I wasn't specific enough. It's giving me some military person or whatever. I'll get back to you on that. So let's just go to that. Let me just see if I can find that one video. Because it's like way back. David Shurter interview of Vanessa Bates. See if I can just do it that way. All right, there's me talking about it, but I don't want that. Like, it doesn't come up easy. You have to actually go to his site. That's how buried this is on his, his. That's why he's pissed, because you can't even find his interview. Let me see how far. It's going to take me a while. Let me play a song while I search this and find this one video of his. It's the one of his interview with Vanessa Bates. Do you have it? That's the one that I'm looking for. Okay, I think like out of all the songs that I have about David Shurter that I created today, I think this one, these two, like starting here, I like these ones.
Butcher knife steps in, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the pig pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Bro, butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining order. Scum, bro. 2, 3, 4, 5 hit whip. Butcher knife stepson, don't need gun. I will cycle pump you till you done another restraining order. Fun. Yeah. Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun. People say I'm scum. I'm done. Butcher knife stepson, thinking this is fun. Oh, butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the pig pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Oh, butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining orders. Go. Whoa. 2, 3, 4, 5 hit whip. Butcher knife stepson.
All right. Okay, so I found it. Yeah. All right. So let me stop the share here. And this is his interview with Max Spears' mom. And he calls her Max Spears' mom and friend on davidshurter.com. Max Spears' death and message. So here we go.
Hey, welcome to davidshurter.com. I am your host, David Shurter, and I am on awakeradio.us. This is going to be an interesting show today. It is probably not going to be easy for some people to hear, but
That's funny.
I feel that the fact that so many survivor advocate leaders are being murdered, that this needs to be dealt with.
And here's something that bothers me about this. It's because so many advocate leaders are being, murdered. And I'm like, okay, so this is not really what Max was. He wasn't an advocate. He was an advocate survivor. He was not a survivor. He was not an SRA survivor. He was considered like a trained soldier, like a super soldier, or someone who was used for military, like psychic remote viewing, things like this. It was not, he talks about some of what David talks about and talks about the elite being involved with it, but he does not say that it happened to him. So he's not a survivor-ish, but David already wants to take this in his life right now after him being gone. He wants to take this in this direction.
And pointed out and examined. What am I talking about? Well, let me bring up the case of Lori King. Lori King was one of the founders of Ivory Garden, which was it is the largest support group for survivors, and I believe it has also been the longest. It wasn't the first, but it has stuck around through time. Lori King was one of the founders of that. Lori King had, I think, 3,000 friends on Facebook. She had been an advocate for years. She had done so much for the survivor community, helping anyone she possibly could. Now you can go onto my website, davidshurter.com, and that's SHURTER. .com. I just added an index. It's in the pages above. It's the very last page that is above, index to davidshurter.com, and go in there and look for the article. It's closer to the end, the strange case, the strange death of Lori King. And you can read up.
So this is something that David does often. Like, he will take somebody else's situation and then automatically assume that their situation are like somehow they're coordinated. And I can kind of see where he's coming from, but so I want to get past this. So he goes on for a really long time. Okay, so here we go. Wait, here I think.
But I assure you, Inspector Bruce Turner, who is investigating Lori King's death now.
Okay, we're still in Lori King. Survivors. He's talking about survivors. Here we go. Wait. Michael. Guess solely responsible. So he's got 11 minutes. Christine Hart. Hold on. Okay, let's see what's going on here with Christina Joanna Hart.
Time. Christine Hart, who runs this show, who's all this big advocate, who is running around. She, Doug Dietrich, and Max all did interviews together. So I know.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute, because I was on Revolution Radio at that time. In fact, my show on Saturday nights was before Douglas Dietrich's. He was right after me on Revolution Radio. And so that's the first time I heard Christina Joanna Hart. She came into that network through Douglas Dietrich. And yeah, they were shows that Douglas Dietrich and Christina Joanna Hart talked about. Max was a regular on Christina Joanna Hart's show. And he was also, on her shows intermittently when he was in Poland. So there was one show where he never showed up. And that is part of, the discussion of the things that happened surrounding his death. So Douglas Dietrich, by the way, just so you know, according to my understanding, he put together a lot of the super soldier conferences with Lorian Fenton, who was very, she was like, part of the administration of Revolution Radio, and part of putting the Super Soldier Summit together. And that's the Super Soldier Summit that Max came out on. So yeah, it sounds like he's vilifying Christina Joanna Hart for some reason. I don't really know why, but let's continue.
They had Max ingratiated with all those people. And again, they don't work with people they don't trust. And so I think, I know that it was a conspiracy to commit murder. I think that Max was drowned. I think.
Okay, so like before he is, now mind you, his guest is Vanessa Bates. So now he is saying what he thinks happened to him. And this is fairly recent after Max passed away, so much so that when I asked Vanessa if she had done an interview with David, she didn't even recall, because she was kind of in shock at this time. So this is fairly recent after he passed away. So he's automatically, before toxology reports or anything like that, he's automatically coming up with a theory of how he died, just like he does with, what he does with everybody else, including Isaac Cappy.
He was attacked with weapons before he ever did his last interview. That interview was a setup to make him look crazy so that everyone would focus on it. And it was meant to discredit. And why? Because Max was bringing to light a problem with child trafficking.
Okay, so now that part of like, okay, in terms of like what happened to Max, right? The only thing that I'm going to share, what I think is off about it, is that his computer and his cell phone were wiped. And so whatever he was looking at or reporting on, nobody can really know, and including the people that he was talking to. So that's why people find, and because he alerted his mother and said, if something happened to me, investigate. So there's been an assumption that he knew things about people, or had, or maybe knew things about people that might have put his life in danger, whatever that was. But that was never really determined. But a lot of people have, speculated. And, I've been one of those people that have speculated, because he was talking about some of the stuff that David talks about, and a lot of people do talk about, in terms of what you would consider to be a ritual or satanic practice or something like that, right? And so it really, some of that stuff, it was the first time I ever heard it, really came from Max. And then some of the things that Max said became part of very much an online conspiracy. And but there really isn't any proof, really, that he was talking about, nobody knows anything specific. And no, it's just kind of like, wow, if you really wanted to think about something, well, there is something that you could still question surrounding what happened to him, for me. Okay. Now, but David decides, has, very much made it into his life. And somehow, even before he's going to interview his mother, he's already telling, like, even his mother, like, as if he, like, what's going on. And really think about it. She is kind of like fresh, like she's still dealing with her emotions and her loss and trying to figure it out. And he's saying things that could be considered to be harsh or not respectful of her feelings.
And victims a voice so they can say whatever they want. But if there are people out there who are waiting to hear something that they can use against these two, that ain't gonna happen. And so I would like to have the next hour and a half to be a celebration, because we need to know who Max Weber was.
He called him Max Weber. He called him Max Weber. All right. He didn't even get his name right. And and then that bothers me about him, David, and how he sits back and talks about how he's so tight with Max and the astral, and is going to do all these psycho pump people, and and how he's like, and somehow I've done something to him, and how he knows exactly what happened to him and how he died and everything, and he can't even say his name correctly. I mean, seriously, I find this is the part that bothers me the most. How disrespectful that he wasn't even able to say his name correctly.
Have the next hour and a half to be a celebration, because we need to know who Max Weber was. We need to know what his message was. We need to know who Max Weber was as an individual and what compelled him to do the amazing work that he was murdered for. And I personally could not be more honored to do that than with the two people who probably loved him the most. His mother, Vanessa Weber, and his incredible...
I forgot it was so bad. His mother, Vanessa Weber. Who's she? She was... Because it's Vanessa Bates. Wow.
Incredibly good friend, Rosette. And I don't have Rosette's last name written down, so I'm sorry. We're friends. But I just don't have her last
boo
name written down. So she'll introduce herself.
Get her name right. This is here's hosting a show 101. Get people's names right before you introduce your guests. I mean, we all make mistakes, but this is really bad.
So with that said, guys, and I call everyone guys. I know you two are ladies. Sorry. But welcome.
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 Hello.
Hi.
So, okay, well, Vanessa, let's start with you. Tell us about Max.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here really because it's very important to me to keep Max's name alive and to keep Max in the forefront of people's minds because he had a very important message. I don't need to repeat what his message was because his message is very clear from all of the beautiful videos that were taken
Vanessa,
over the period of years.
Vanessa, I'm gonna ask you, as his mother, what was Max's message? Please.
Wow, I mean, seriously, I mean, she clearly doesn't want to answer the question, and he's like, no, Vanessa, I'm gonna ask you, what was Max's message?
Tell us in your words.
Difficult for because Max said it so eloquently, and Rosette can probably express his message far better than I because there was so much exchange between the two of them. But I know that it was all about the heart. It was all about people needing to return to the heart, and it was about the dangers of getting involved with. I want to say the dark side, but actually, he used to say to me, "Don't think in terms of dark and light, Mum. Think in terms of the fact that there's a battle going on." He used to say there was a battle going on in heaven, in fact, and that the forces of love needed to win, but that we were right in the center of that battle now. And that was how he spoke, like as if it's happening, has been going on for a while, but it's coming to its conclusion, and that if we don't get it right, a lot of people are going to sink and essentially not come through.
I'm for people who know me, I'm well.
Wow. I don't know. I that's something else. I mean, I'm thinking about that right now.
Aware of that message. I know that message incredibly well.
No, I don't think you do, David, because you don't act like you do. I don't think, and you didn't even get this man's name right, or his mother's. I don't think you know the message well or incredibly well at all.
Because basically what you're saying is that Max preached love and that it was the only thing that was going to save us in the end.
Yes.
And that is why he was slaughtered. And
okay, how insensitive is that? And that is why he was slaughtered, because he had a message of love. And does that make people want to have a message of love, to have to do that if that's going to be their fate? And and David does say that during his shows, fill your hearts with love, or you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. Well, I'm sorry, but personally, I don't see his love. That's just me. I mean, I don't see him embodying love or compassion in his daily videos. There's no happiness there. There's no laughter.
And
yeah,
I just want to point out, I know that the two of you have I know that because I've mentioned Michael Aquino, and I'm going to keep mentioning you, Michael, Mr. Aquino, because really what has happened is that you are no longer the master of anything. And the time has come for the student to take the place of the master. And let me tell you, I'm very, very good at what you taught me. And you think that you can quell.
So right there, I mean, I don't know. I find this to be really offensive because right there, he is accusing Michael Aquino and bringing Michael Aquino into it, while he is talking about, right after he talks about Max's message of love. I totally understand it, but you, Mr. Aquino, you're guilty for this when there's no evidence that Michael Aquino had anything to do with Max Spears. Really, When you look at like Michael Aquino, there's no, I mean, even with the Presidio Elementary School case, he was found not guilty, and he was not even. And they go, well, how is it that you're not guilty? He says, because I wasn't even in the town at the time that it happened. I was like on, an assignment. It was Washington D.C. or something like that. So there are things that they're like, again, when you talk about mythology in the super soldier realm, Michael Aquino is a central figure in that, and he's also a central figure in David Shurter's world, and he's also a central figure in a lot of people that followed right-wing conspiracies.
This message, because Max is like me and like others. There are many of us who are here directly from heaven. That's the reason why Max preached the message that he did, because he was basically essentially from heaven.
So, wow. I mean, I'm really glad that I'm watching this again, because it's kind of disturbing that David is putting himself as being from heaven with a message and equating that that Max is from heaven too. So David has already exalted himself to some sort of outer worldly and saintly person in this whole scenario. He's exalted himself right when he's interviewing his mother, Vanessa Bates, Vanessa Weber, as he called her.
And he came. And what has happened, heaven is well aware of it. It is not dependent upon public attention. And before I go any further, and then I'm going to direct it to Rosette and ask her about Max's message and to find out more about Max, I just want to point out to you, the other side exists. Heaven exists. And yes, you may have drowned Max in a damn bathtub, which explains why his phone was wet. You may have...
No, actually, David, Sarah R. Adams said that he dropped the phone because they were sexting. So that's a whole nother theory. I guess maybe David didn't get that memo.
Taken him from this side, all he did was go over to the other side.
And I say that jokingly because that's also made up.
Side and embrace who he really is. And what you taught me as a child has allowed me to go back and forth at will at any moment in time I choose. And I have gone back. It's hard for me, and I've talked to Vanessa about this. Max's death is very difficult for me to process, not because we weren't close on this side. We weren't. We knew about each other. We knew of each other. I teased him all the time because Max was good looking, and I like to tease him. But we really
okay. Did they know each other really at all? I mean, I teased him because I thought he was good looking. Ew. I don't know how I feel about that.
Really didn't know each other, but on the other side, what you don't realize, you go ahead, you keep slaughtering people, and what happens every time.
And here's another thing I want to bring up. When Virginia Giuffre passed away, he said that he had a dream. He was in her dream and in the astral, whatever, and they had made a pact, and that they were gonna go after people together. That he was gonna make it right for her, and they had connected in the spiritual realm. So David says a lot of things like this about people that are associated to the topic of deaths that involve, like, let's say, Epstein and stuff.
Time you slaughter them, I go to the other side and find them, and I enlist them to help me screw you any and every way they can and bring you as much pain as they possibly can. And
And,
so
and this is disturbing too. I mean, you would talk about like restraining orders and stuff like that in his mind, and think about like the whole what we've been looking at tonight, or those of us that are talking about him today, is and other researchers here, like what the stuff that Aussie John has done in his videos and everything like that. What we found, or what they found, and I'm just showing what they found basically because I didn't find these documents, is restraining orders of people that are actually, they were scared enough of David for their own personal safety that they took out restraining orders. He doesn't have just one. He doesn't have, somebody who maybe filed one or wanted to have one on you but wasn't able to get one because you had a feud with them or something like that. He literally has restraining orders. Literally. And when you go on his channel, he denies them, and you see where his head is at. I'm here. I'm allowed to give you that pain. I'm allowed to punish you. We're from heaven, and we're gonna punish you. That's the scary part, I think, of David Shurter, because how far is he gonna take that?
Keep that in mind. And with Max, let me tell you, I personally want to tell you all thank you, because I couldn't have asked for a better first lieutenant. He knows you better than anybody, and he's helping direct heaven to completely screw you. So
wow.
So again, these are my opinions. My guests are not involved. I've warned everybody about this interview that it was going to be an emotionally charged interview, because I've had enough. I've simply had enough. Max was the last straw. And the fact that I'm watching this circus ensue is starting to irritate me, not just with the bad guys, but with all of his supposed supporters who sit by and allow it to happen. But Rosette is not one of those. And so, Rosette, please, you knew Max. Will you kind of explain to us his message?
I mean, who are those supporters supposed to be that sat by and allowed it to happen? Like, I don't think anybody that was connected to this just sat by and allowed it to happen. A lot of people talked about it, including me. It's like, come on, really? And this is his contribution to it? Okay.
Message, and Rosette or Vanessa spoke about videos and where people could find that information. Could you also explain that while you're telling us his message?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I just want to correct. His last name is Spears, David.
I'm sorry.
And
I'm sorry.
And Vanessa's is Bates is her last name. But that's
I don't
okay
know where
because
I got Weber. I
don't know. I don't know where you got that, but
but,
but it's
you have to understand, with my training, names and numbers. I can't I have almost a weird thing about names, and I never forget a face ever. But names,
and it's like that on Facebook too. Anyway, it's like everyone has different names and stuff like that, so it's hard anyway.
Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to share that particular part of it. Like, okay, so he can't. It's his training. It's a special training that he can't remember his name correctly. Well, now you're a host. You were a host on a radio show, and your task was to know the names of your guests and interview them. He spent how long? I mean, I feel like, oh my God, I can't take any more. He spent like 20 minutes. He spent 20 minutes or more talking about what he thought happened to his death. What was his message? He didn't know his message. He didn't know his message. He can't just apologize, right? Yeah, he's got to make an excuse and exalt himself in the process of it. Not only, did he make a big blunder and should be embarrassed, but, his blunder is because he's so superior and special. That's crazy. What did David really do? Scream and rant. Right. All he did was scream and rant about his position, and he's still screaming and ranting about it. Yeah, I'm seeing it. Here comes the fake anger. He's had enough. Okay. I do like that one part where how Vanessa defines his message, but you can tell she really didn't want to do that. And it, really when you're prepping for guests, when you have people on and you have a guest, you should do research on them. You should know what that person's message is and go, do quotes or ask, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like his message is this. I mean, I'll tell you, I created this song with the message that she was talking about. When I did a show recently, remembering him, because it was, the date of when we lost him. It's been 9 years now that Max has been gone. And, I just want to say that, I mean, there's a lot of people that I feel that come and watch that video of him because he did affect them, and he did have a positive message. And before I go, thanks for listening tonight. I'm going to play a song I created with that message that Vanessa talked about right now.
Born in the shadows of Canterbury skies, eyes wide open to invisible lies. He spoke of men made into machines of gods in suits and laboratory dream. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. You got to believe that Earth is the heart. Oh, oh, oh,
All right, I know it's kind of cheesy. It's a little bit cheesy. Sorry, I kind of, but that it's pretty much, if you want to, I think it kind of embodies it a little bit. It's okay, but this now I'm officially saying goodbye. This shit is real. Bye.
Butcher knife steps in, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the pig pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Bro, butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining order. Scum, bro. 2, 3, 4, 5 hit whip. Butcher knife stepson, don't need gun. I will cycle pump you till you done another restraining order. Fun. Yeah. Butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun. People say I'm scum. I'm done. Butcher knife stepson, thinking this is fun. Oh, butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the pig pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Oh, butcher knife stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining orders. Go. 2, 3, 4, 5 hit whip. Put your knife, stepson. I will psycho pump you till you done. Another restraining order fun. Put your knife, stepson. Wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the pig pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Put your knife, stepson. Wearing my man bun, another restraining order. Scum. 2, 3, 4, 5, hit, whip. Put your knife, stepson. Don't need gun. I will psycho pump you till you done. Another restraining order fun. Put your knife, stepson. Wearing my man bun. People say I'm scum, 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 scum. I'm done. But the knife, stepson, thinking this is fun. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Put your knife, stepson. Yeah. Put your knife, stepson, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the pig pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Yeah. Put your knife, stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining order. Scum. 2, 3, 4, 5, hit whip. Put your knife, stepson. Don't need gun. I will psycho pump you till you done. Another restraining order fun. Put your knife, stepson. Wearing my man bun. People say I'm scum, scum, scum. I'm done. But the knife, stepson. Thinking this is fun. Put your knife, stepson. I know boy I stepson. Word, yeah, G. Dot. Nobody. Put your knife, stepson. Wearing my man bun. Thinking I'm a G-man. Dreaming the pig pen. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Put your knife, stepson. Wearing my man bun. Another restraining order. Scum. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit whip. Put your knife, stepson. Don't need gun. I will psycho pump you till you done. Another restraining order fun. Put your knife, stepson. Wearing my man bun. People say I'm scum, scum, scum. I'm done. But the knife, stepson. Thinking this is fun. Put your knife, stepson, wearing my man bun, thinking I'm a G-man, dreaming the big pun. Nobody has fun until I'm done. Put your knife, stepson, wearing my man bun, another restraining order. Scum. 2, 3, 4, 5, hit whip. Put your knife, stepson. Don't need gun. I will psycho pump you till you done. Another restraining